Five? What?
How do we? I was just wondering, how do we? This is fine if we talk about it. How do we get on the? What is that program where you talk about the process of designing a logo? You give this presentation. What's that called again? You
The
remember that?
process? What are you talking about?
I can't remember if it's through Brand New or AIGA. I can't remember.
The process of is it when you fail?
No, I think it's just presenting a logo of like from sketch to end and just showing how you got there.
Ah,
I want to say that's through Brand New. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's been a long day. What's up?
yeah. It's been a long day here. I spent a lot of time today talking to people and reorganizing things and looking forward to being able to have this conversation that we started Sunday and we decided we should continue. So, yeah, and I'm hydrated and I've got my little Kangol on, so I'm ready to go. You know what means business when I have the Kangol on.
See, I see it the other way. I see
Oh,
that as more of a time off hat.
why is this some kind of time? It's a vacation hat.
I don't know, man. First of all, it puts 15 years on you.
Oh no!
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
What
so
if
now
I?
it's really different. Now you look like a French Revolution. Yeah, okay.
I think I'd rather look like a French revolutionary.
Okay.
Go home. Okay, I'm gonna stop laughing.
Don't meet a client like that.
No, I will not. I should not even be. You know what? Where's the hat that you gave me? That is my lucky hat,
Hey,
and I don't have it.
don't let me talk you out of your hat. It's all good.
Man, 15 years? That's a lot of. You know how 15 years we've had a company for about 15 years.
I know, I know.
Yeah, yeah,
We were just
and
talking about time. LinkedIn started May 2003,
hmm
and I've been a member since 2003. So somehow I heard about it, and I've been doing that ever since. And it was interesting. We were talking about how what the benefit of that was.
yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I went on a job interview because you look at my name, you hear my voice on the phone, you don't know I'm black
right.
necessarily.
When you hear my voice, you know I'm black. You're like,
Oh,
damn, he's black.
absolutely, 100%. Can't go wearing my but anyway. So what LinkedIn did was, and I knew it was palpable too. Like I could feel it. Where I would be sitting in a coffee shop waiting for a client, waiting for it to meet a client that didn't know what I look like,
Uh huh.
and you know how when somebody walks into a room and you can tell they're looking for somebody,
Yeah.
and I would it was almost like a sociological experiment. I would sit there, here I am, big black man sitting there, and I know they're not thinking it's me.
hmm
They're looking around the coffee shop. Where's this nerdy little designer I'm looking for?
Yeah.
And they don't think it's me, and I kind of have to look. And then even when I do that, I've had people flinch and recoil.
I just
They
saw a video about that
they
today.
like clutch their laptop bag. Oh no! But then once LinkedIn came around, it was almost like instinctually I knew, oh, they're gonna Google me.
uh,
They're going to
hmm
Google my name. They're going to see my profile photo on LinkedIn and know, oh, I'm meeting a black man today. So then I swear to you, it's the mood in the room in those early client meetings changed because they knew who they were looking for. And they had already
yeah.
reconciled that they were going to talk to a black man. So then it
Yeah.
wasn't weird after that.
Yeah.
It's
Y-
just funny how that was such a demarcation in my relationships with clients and potential clients, like when they know you're black ahead of time, it's just a different vibe. When they
Yeah.
don't know, sometimes they don't even know that you're the person they're there to see.
Yup. I think maybe a resolution for that, at that time is to like bust through the wall and be like, "Hey, Kool-Aid," and that way everybody's so shocked that it kind of like breaks the tension, and then they always remember you. That sounds like an Eric Andre skit.
Yeah, yeah. But see, yeah, but that's such a it's such a benefit now because um I don't have to that's one less of a tax that I have to pay or that we have to pay in that situation. We were talking about the tax
Mhm.
of of a black man in this industry in this career. Man, I remember driving down to right out of school, driving down to Corpus Christi for a job interview. Talked to the person over the phone. They looked at my portfolio. I had sent them this little logo book. I
Mhm.
crafted this little handcrafted logo book, mailed that to them. Um, Spoke to him on the phone, had a really good talk. And then I get down there and drove all the way to Corpus Christi. The receptionist looks at me like, can I help you?
Uh,
And I was like, yeah, I'm here to talk to so and so. And I had an appointment.
mhm.
They got my resume, everything, just everything, but obviously no technology to see me, to see what I look like. Um, and she looked at me like, she goes, okay, I'll go get him.
So maybe on a call or on a resume, you should be like, "Yes, and by the way, I'm a Negro." See, in that way, they won't be
Well, I mean, but
surprised.
I wanted to get the invite in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. And a lot of people are afraid of that. I know it used to be. And I mean, it's the same today because a lot of people who are fresh out of college are finding out that they are not being hired as quickly as they want to be.
Yeah, no, but the continuation of that story is I could see the disappointment in his face when he walked out of his office and saw me
Hmm.
because he was like, "Oh, Dave's here," and he walked out of the office, turned around the corner, and then saw me, and all that enthusiasm that I heard in his voice on the phone call, I heard on his voice when he was told I was there. I could hear him. All
Hmm.
of that, all of that enthusiasm was gone the second he saw me. It was just
Out the door.
odd. But LinkedIn now, hey, everybody knows what's up.
Yeah. Does that count as a microaggression in a way?
I don't know about how micro it was. I
Hmm.
drove 350 miles to be disrespected.
Oh, and so I take it you didn't get that job.
No, I did not get that job.
Yeah. Yeah. You probably didn't fit with the culture.
Yeah, it was a culture issue. You're right.
Hmm. Yeah, that's bullshit.
Hey man, you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. So then, for people in the industry, we have a breakfast every other Sunday at this place called Blue Lacy in Austin, and we have some pretty wonderful pancakes and some bacon. And we were just talking about the reality of time as a creative business owner and trying to plan for we're a little bit older. You can see Brother Gray, and so we feel like we've worked really hard. And then when you look back, sometimes the perspective is not always as shiny as it should be because this journey is a very hard one.
Yeah, and time flies. Like that excitement of graduating. Um, Back when I graduated, the economy was really it was off. Nobody was hiring anybody.
Like now.
My first my first job with my design degree, I was driving a forklift
Mm,
and trying to do stuff like crafting those little logo books that I was talking about and sending them out to agencies and trying to get some attention that way. But yeah, time flies, man. Like, got a job at a newspaper, started designing there, started meeting people. That led me to a job to a startup. Worked a couple of years there, then went out on my own,
hmm.
and then now that was I was 7 years into the design career by then.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's a long time to just finally be getting to a point where I'd built up a network and some confidence and started on my own,
Hmm.
and then did that for 10 years,
Okay.
smacked down by the
But man,
financial
no.
financial collapse,
uh,
you know.
Yeah.
And then I find a job with some friends, work small studio. Now just kind of blink and I'm 25 years into the career now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 7 years to get a foothold, 10 years on my own, 10 years with a small studio. That's 20. I'm 27 years in.
Yeah, I feel like it takes about five
Just like
years
that.
for anything of significance to take place, to be honest with you. Maybe that's why college is 4 years or something like that. But it takes a while. And then when you look at these chunks, you're like, okay, this is gone. I thought I was going to plan for this, but I didn't plan for all the pitfalls. And now that I'm like 40, 50, starting over again, it feels like you really didn't get anywhere. The only thing you've done so far is survive somehow.
Yeah, and there's something weird about, like, do you celebrate survival?
If you're black,
If you're black, you do, I
yeah, you
guess.
got to. I mean, isn't that the whole point of Juneteenth? No, I'm kidding. It's not. It's not.
Damn. God damn.
We're on LinkedIn, so I don't know if we can. We got to figure out how much we're going to curse.
I mean,
They're
what
adults. They curse people out all the time, I'm sure. That's part of business.
well, I mean, the if we were going to be welcomed, into the industry, it would have happened a while ago.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so now we can just do whatever we can let it hang. We can do
I
whatever we want to
mean,
do. All right.
I mean,
Mm. Okay, so let's give the people who are watching something that's worth taking away. So, what do you do about this? Like, we're at the stage where we're, building a business, and I guess it's a roller coaster. You've got to deal with cash flow. You've got to deal with how do you expand. You have to figure out how you scale up, and then while you're doing all of this, you have to start really looking at retirement, which is kind
right.
of scary.
So, right. I think some of the best advice I'd ever heard was, uh, you know, like, let's just talk retirement for just a real quick second. Some sort of, if you can, whatever you got to do, no Starbucks, no going to the movies, no Beyonce tickets, like whatever you got to do
Mm,
to squeeze out 150, $200 a month to try to put it away in a money market somewhere like that. Like, even if it's 50 a month, do that, because the mathematics of that will be on your side the earlier you start. Um, but in terms of just the career part of things, I mean, it's a jungle, man, because you're trying to stay on top of your own skill set. You're trying to build your network. You're constantly being harangued with new software that you have to learn, new technologies you need to learn. There's always going to be a handful of designers younger than you, hungrier than you, probably cheaper than you. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's survive, like, it is a gauntlet to make it to the end of your career, I think.
Yeah. Jordan says he feels like he's in the exact same place I'm in, 32 and still haven't been hired. That's why I see so many African American graphic designers, and you'll see this throughout the history of African Americans looking to create things for themselves so that they can be employed and create opportunities for other people to make money. One thing I was reading in this book about called Our People was Chicago, and they were talking about how well the black businesses did in Chicago before integration. And they were just saying that it was easier because they had funding and they had banks and they had systems and they had networks. And the more that I think about that, the more I'm realizing when people reach out to me on LinkedIn is that we don't have those networks established, and we are working to build those networks. So Jordan, it is challenging, man. I do get you.
Yeah, and those the idea of starting your own thing can seem kind of crazy, but I mean, that's what I wound up doing.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
I worked for, like I said, I worked for a newspaper for a little bit, met a bunch of people. That's what got me the job at a startup. Met more people, garnered more skills, started doing just about everything you could think of, from web design to the working for the marketing department. The most important thing was all the presentations I had to give to clients,
Oh yeah. Why
because
so?
that was like 4 years of basically getting a bachelor's degree in psychology,
Oh
essentially.
yeah,
You know
man.
what I mean? Like how to talk to people, how to talk them out of their bad idea, how
Yeah.
to make them think your good idea was their idea,
Yeah.
how not to let them changing your idea destroy your confidence and knowing, is that really what I want to fight for? Nah, I don't want to fight for that idea. Like, so we'll just let that go. Or
Mm.
this is an idea worth fighting for. So that's what gave me I would say, the psychological, emotional confidence to go, all right, I'm ready. I'm going to go out on my own.
Yeah.
It wasn't a plan though. It was an it was an anger quit.
I mean,
It was a
anger fuels
frustration quit.
a lot of anger fuels a lot of us, right? JI Designs on YouTube said, I was fortunate enough to land my first gig at a black-owned newspaper. Congratulations,
Nice,
sir.
nice.
Yeah. I worked for a few black design, a print shop or two, and that was helpful. But the people coming out of college right now, like, I don't know exactly what advice to give, especially if you're trying to go the agency route right now, because all those DNI initiatives are being slashed. Even people who we look out for who were in 2020 reaching out hands have now recoiled them. And so, man, sometimes I think some of the best things is to, like, sometimes just hunker down and get a job and then build for your future, because it's going to take it takes like 5 years again to, like, get things in order, especially if you're thinking about branding yourself properly. Dave, how long do you think that took for you to, like, really get your brand off the ground, understand the marketing that you needed to do to make it successful? Or are we still both going through that process?
Yeah, I don't know that I remember the very first check I got. I didn't even know about, like, this was how green I was. It was freelance, just a freelance thing off to the side, and I didn't realize I needed to go. Like, so I tried to look official, so I had sent an invoice to DM Design, all that, whatever, to make it look official.
uh,
Of course, they wrote the check to DM Design. I don't have an account.
oh no.
So it was like, shit. So I had to go get a DBA so I can cash that
Oh
check, because there was no way
wow.
in hell I was going to tell them, oh, can you send me
Right.
another check to Dave McClinton?
I messed up my
So
business names.
yeah, man. So now I'm stuck with these dumbass business names, run of the mill initials.
Can you write the check out to my mom?
Oh man,
So Facebook
man.
user, this is Gabby. She says she would love to see an episode on talking clients out of bad ideas. Sometimes you can't, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Man, I can talk about one right that I'm in the middle of, actually.
Oh,
There's a client who wanted a logo for that wanted a logo for a I guess what it would be. It was sort of like a store, like a it was like a storage type thing, like a but it was storage specifically for um sports utility vehicles, boats, RVs, that kind of thing. Um and the client of mine was the marketing company that hired me. So technically, they were my client and they were great, but the
mm-mm.
like their client, had some weird ideas.
The
You know
client
what I
next to
mean?
the
And
client next to the goddamn
yeah, that
client.
the actual client.
Yeah.
And we're all sitting in this meeting, and I'm presenting logo ideas, and they're taking it as this opportunity to go Mr. Potato Head on everything. And
Mr. Potato
oh,
Head.
let's take this off. Let's take this over this and
Yeah.
stick this over here, and let's move this around. And it was a thing where there were so many people talking that I was like, okay, I'm just gonna listen, and I'm gonna take in all these ideas, and then I'm gonna send them what they need anyway. Like
Mm,
you know what I mean? It was like, there. What's the worst that could happen? They can't
mm,
kill me. So so I essentially took in all the ideas, kind of pulled what I thought would work, but essentially gave them what they needed and not what they asked for. And it worked out fine. I think it's just weird. It's different. So sometimes if it's a one-on-one situation, that can be harder.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of allowed the noise of 12 different people talking to sort of muddy the water and hide. Everybody was just throwing out ideas. I don't think anybody necessarily expected, or it was almost like one of those things where you can tell when somebody's in a meeting talking just so they can be heard.
Mm,
So it's like getting a participation point for, hey, I said something in the meeting.
yeah.
And
Gabby
there's a
says
lot of that.
one of her clients is now a spiritual mystical, and redid her whole color palette for her coaching brand based on colors from her aura analysis. Yeah, because clients are going to be able to relate to that.
Wow.
The long wow.
I mean,
Yeah,
oh my God.
yeah, that'd be tough. Yeah, so a lot of people, I think the problem is a lot of people enter this process thinking it's for them, and I think that's one of
Yeah.
the indications that you can have if it's a black bad client that's going to have bad ideas, and I think you need to just brace for that from the outset by asking simple questions. I think like, okay, is this for you or is this for your target audience? And if they're like, I don't even know what a target audience is, or I don't know my target audience, then that's a good indication that you're only trying to please that person. And so that's another clue for me to just be like, okay, this job may just be doing whatever that person wants, getting paid, and calling it a day. And then some people,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And, and you're right. So in that moment, do you walk away from it? Do you fire the client, or do you just do what you got to do? And it depends on levels, right? So
Right, yeah.
like I've been in a situation where I knew I just needed the work, but I could also tell they're not listening to anything I
Oh,
tell them.
well, then that's a
And
red
now
flag number like one, right?
and now but yeah, but I was already in. I'd already presented, so already there was no, you know what I mean? I was already deep into the project when that realization hit. So now
Mm,
I'm just realizing, oh, I'm just a mouse and a keyboard right now.
yeah, that happens a lot in the industry,
It does happen
especially
a
for
lot. And at the
freelancers.
at the end of the project, um, it's over. They're happy, like everything's great, and they said, like the sort of the parting conversation that was like, hey, we really appreciate your design skill, and I couldn't resist. I was like, hey, I didn't do anything. That logo was your idea. I couldn't resist.
Yeah,
I couldn't resist saying that. I was like, I
yeah.
didn't really do anything.
So
I
the
gave you
client,
prompt advice, really. That's all I really did, because you ignored every idea I had, and now your logo looks like a beach ball. Good for you.
yep, yep. And so what I tell people sometimes is like, okay, normally we work with the target audience because that's really who we're designing for, and it either gets confused because you think you're designing for you, or I'm designing what I want best. So at best, this is probably a starter logo for you because you don't have the information that you need to create something that's going to be successful for you. So then they're just like, oh, do I still want to go through with this or not? And then sometimes I'm like, let me guide you to this person who could probably help you, or we can help you with this, or maybe you just need consultation instead. Sometimes I tell people you don't even need a logo right now because you're not even ready. You're just not ready. But you have to be in a position where you can afford to do that.
Right? Yeah, and I think that's kind of hand in hand with, you would be, hopefully you're in that position to know when to do that because you've had experience. And if you've had the experience, hopefully that's a client that is coming to you for that experience. And then the
Mm,
relationship is, I've had some bad relationships, but in my career, it's been, I'd say, 85-90% great experiences. So I think that's
well,
a pretty
so
good rate.
how do you feel about the clients then who approach you and they want to collaborate together? They're like, no, I really want to work with you, and I want my input to be valid.
I don't get a whole lot of that. It's a
Hmm.
wild card that comes in telling me that. Most of
Hmm.
the time I want I want you to design for me. Like that's what I get most of the time.
Jordan says there's also the issue of credibility too. Oh, I gave your name. You got to tell me for me too or not. My immediate thought is someone responding, "Well, what makes you think that?
Oh well,
What
that's
makes?"
getting with the research. I mean, if you've researched the audience, if you've paid attention to the brief, if you can tell them about their competition, if you can tell them about the demo that they're after.
Hmm.
So here's a good example. Designing a logo for a person who wanted to start an ice cream, um, but specifically ice cream cooled by nitrogen. Like it was sort of a trendy thing happening about 6 7 years ago. Um, and he told me the demo was young people, tweens to like early 20s. That was the demo. He was like in his 60s. He was caught up with some sort of logo that would look like a Huckleberry Finn kind of Tom Sawyer sign painted thing, like Norman Rockwell looking thing,
Oh,
because that was his childhood.
yeah.
His childhood didn't have a damn thing to do with the current childhood of his chosen demo.
Right.
So that's where you have to say, look, this is why if you did what you want to do, you're going to have a logo that doesn't fit your demo or the actual product you're serving.
Mhm.
So it's you rely on research. If somebody asks you that question, and you have hopefully you have done your research and you know how to speak in a way that doesn't sound defensive. You don't want to sound defensive. You don't want to sound argumentative. You want to. That's where you want to calm
I
down
don't know. I don't know.
and talk about because if you're backing it with research and speaking to their audience, there's no way to
Then,
sound
but some
wrong.
people just don't care, and it's not like they don't mean to not care. It's just that they don't have the education. They don't understand the power of branding. They don't understand all of these things. So, trying to put all of these hours into somebody that you've already determined, somebody gives me a painting and says they want a logo. I'm like, that's not going to work. I just fought, But again, I can afford to do that. And I think those are some questions we can get from the outset, like, what are your intentions? What logos do you have that you want, that you like? And then from there, decide if you want to deal with them or not.
Yeah, but I was answering the question directly of how do you answer the question, why should I listen to you?
Oh yeah, you sure did. Y'all, rewind and just delete what I just said.
No, no, no. What you said was fine. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
it's something that happens a lot where we are we're either arguing the same point slightly differently, or we're talking about two completely different things.
So let me answer this question specifically. Just not sure how to communicate that and not come off as standoffish. I do it because I'm your friend. I'm like, hey, sometimes I'll immediately go, oh, I don't take jobs less than $5,000, or oh, this isn't really the type of stuff I do, but I have a community. I know people on LinkedIn. I know people on Fiverr. I know people who can help you out. There's Catchafire. There's different ways that you can get this done. And if you have some more money, I can help you organize this so that you can better brand yourself and figure out how to spend your money as you're developing your business. Dave, would you go for that? Would you be like, yep, I'm not offended?
I don't, it's funny. I've never been a business owner on that side of things.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, all right, all right,
You know what I
all
mean? Like I've never, I
right.
don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I'm always the one doing the thing.
Yeah, that Facebook user said, "Thank you both. I think both of your answers help." Yeah, I feel like our mission is to guide, especially with the African American community, them to understand how to use their budget and for them to understand the things that they need to be successful. And honestly, sometimes that's not a logo. Sometimes it's not a website because so many clients come to us with a website or a presentation or a branding guideline, and it's like in the middle of doing the work, they're figuring out all the work that it takes to actually get it done, which extends the project, which makes people lose money. And that's the situation that I would love to avoid before I get into it. But it's hard.
Yeah, think about there are two clients that came to us for logos that were disorganized and never reached back out.
Mm.
One was a group, the medical group. I don't want to say
Yeah, yeah,
who.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I really wanted that logo too,
And
man.
then there was the single executive person.
Hmm.
I mean, we probably spent a good 6 to 8 hours of total meeting time, proposal writing time, research time. Like we spent time with those folks, and they never went through with it.
Yeah. Yeah, JI Designs, you are absolutely right. I find that the good clients, when you're upfront, they're good. I think that's an indication. A green flag. I think Gabby was asking what are green flags in a membership site one time, and that's if you can be blunt with your client in the first meeting, or even in your proposals. I know we were pretty blunt in one of our proposals when we were like, "Hey, you're doing this contest, and we're not doing that shit. This is how you're gonna do it." Because we want to make sure that people who contribute that their intellectual property is protected, and we got the job just because we're being upfront. And I think it's our duty.
Yeah, there was another proposal where we told somebody their list of deliverables was ridiculous.
Yeah, yes,
It was. It was
it
absolutely
was it
ridiculous.
was dumb.
And we told them that, and they gave us the job because they were like, "Oh, y'all sound like you know what you're talking about." Yeah, we do.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Like
And
like
then if you have the
who put 16 two-page reports? That was one of the. I wish, did we save that? We have that somewhere, right?
we have it. Oh, we
We
have it.
need to we need to
We need to
redact
X out the
redact
name.
put that list out because
The
it was
ridiculousness.
insane.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes, I really do find it useful when you're developing relationships with people like that to be as kind as possible, but be assertive. Like we said, that's way too many deliverables. We couldn't even, like, sometimes we'll go to the extent of like working out the hours and showing them and be okay. So you want us to spend 1 hour on designing a 12-page booklet? I don't think, because if not, we're gonna get paid 15 an hour, and we're not gonna do that. It's just we're not. No one's gonna do that. You shouldn't ask for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to circle back to one of the earlier themes, though, which was somebody had talked about they were 32 and couldn't get hired, that still hadn't gotten hired. So, and were starting to talk about the idea of going out on their own. And then you said sometimes it takes just getting a lower level job and just doing that. I think that's kind of what happened to me.
Hmm.
I couldn't get arrested, and then took a job for a
You
newspaper and
wait,
just
wait, wait, wait. You couldn't get arrested?
it's something people say.
I don't. Okay.
It's an idiom, I believe.
I've never heard this. Is this a Texas idiom?
Well, probably.
What?
I mean, do we want to spend time on
No.
this?
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. 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 Wait. Okay. So wait. You tell your story, and then we're gonna get to this. Go
I'm,
ahead.
I'm, gonna look- I'm
Let's
gonna
do
look
it.
that I'm gonna look that idiom up. I think it's an idiom. It might be a colloquialism. I don't
I
know.
mean, I haven't been arrested.
I
Okay.
gotta I gotta. I took the lower end job, but I knew it was a chance to build a portfolio.
Correct.
So,
Hmm.
well, let me Google, see if people don't know.
No. He's like, well, these
I'm,
people.
I'm sarcastic. I'm sarcastic. Um, so
Yeah.
so I use that low end that lower end job, I guess. It to I doubled everything I did.
Hmm.
So if I was designing an ad or a brochure for this one little thing, and it had to be boring for that one little thing, I did a dope one for myself.
Yeah.
And I kept building the portfolio that way. And I made sure I remembered everybody. I made sure I remembered their names and what they did. If it was for a client a client advertising in the newspaper, I kept track of the type of people I knew I wanted to work for.
Mm.
And because all I had it in my head, eventually I'm going to be on my own. Eventually I'm gonna start my own thing because I can't get an agency to look my way.
Hmm.
So I gotta start my own thing.
Yeah.
So to the person that said that earlier, um, I mean, just build that portfolio and keep it in your head that eventually you're gonna start your own thing. I think
Yeah.
that's how it goes. And also to that end, um, portfolio is important, design skill is important, but also being a pleasant, intelligent person is important too.
Ugh. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. No, it
Just
is. It is. It is.
the
Yeah.
emotional intelligence to know when what's worth fighting for and what's not.
Yeah. So I want to go back to what we were saying about finding just a regular job and get more specific. A lot of people I've been talking to lately who have been looking for graphic design jobs and who have other jobs have these really demanding jobs that they may not like. Let's say they're working 60 hours a week or on weekends, or when they get home, they're so tired because they can't do anything else. And sometimes they have kids, and it could be insane. So having a job like that is going to actually thwart your ability to move ahead because you have no time to work on a thing that you really love and you're too mentally exhausted. So I kind of recommend looking for some cushy jobs like working for production at a college university or something that you can do where it's not draining you by the end of the day, but you still have time to really work on your stuff and freelance. Because if you don't have that combination, you'll be stuck and very unhappy and not sleeping. Yeah. Um,
All
so
right, can
uh,
I get arrested in this town? I found it. Can I get arrested in this town?
can
Is
I get arrested in a town?
cannot get arrested in this town is a show business related term,
Is this
meaning
show
that
business, Dave?
they can't they can't they can't get hired to do anything. So it's just been broken down into, man, I can't get arrested. It's like you're leaning into the hyperbole of I can't get anybody to listen to me or hire me to do anything. Like I
Do
can't
black
even
people
get
say that?
arrested. I'm just saying it was something that I just found the definition. It's something that people say.
Yeah. Okay. So somebody asked, you were right, Dave. I know
I'm always
you're
right.
right. There it is. There it is. So
I'm
has it been
correct.
easier to do value-based pricing or is hourly pricing still king? There's none there. It's all the same. I think so. These tools, hourly, flat, value, project. I think those are all tools that you need to learn when you are pricing jobs so that you can get the job and it makes the most sense for the client. Because I don't tell people hourly or project or retainer until I know what they want and then I price it out according to the job. And so I use all of these to me. I don't use value based a whole lot. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it.
Don't like what?
Value based pricing. I get it, but especially for working with nonprofit civil, you can't do that.
You you
I said I don't like it.
yeah, but you argued to the just tooth and nail about 6 months ago for that to do that.
Really? What?
Oh,
What?
oh yeah.
When? Wait, come on. Which one?
You were, yeah, we needed value based. Like you were all about it a while ago.
I would like you to point to the exact. Y'all, if y'all don't know, we work together. Just in case you had any doubt. Yeah, maybe value if I was talking about the membership site, but I don't think I usually use unless we were trying to figure out how much to charge because it was like they had like a no limit on
Well,
how
no,
much.
no. What I'm saying is that you're a you're like the biggest devil's advocate I know. And
Uh,
whenever we were writing a portfolio, or not a portfolio but a proposal, you would always talk about should we mention our, like you would always bring up you were always skeptical of being really specific about the hourly, putting the hourly rate and the hourly numbers into the proposal.
Yeah. Oh, no, no. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Because a lot of times what happens is they present us with a budget, and then it makes no sense for us to break it down into hours. And sometimes just like we don't really need to break it down into the actual hours unless there's a conversation about it. But we need to know hourly to figure out how many hours is going to cost us to do this project and what multiplier to multiply it for to get the cost for the project anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to know. Like people who are like, I don't do hourly. I'm like, you have to know hourly because you don't know how much you could be losing money if you're not keeping track on like how long you're working on something.
Yeah, even if you don't share it with someone, you still have to have some
Right.
sort of guideline of how you're gonna get there.
Yeah, that is the only way to price. Like if I had no guidelines whatsoever, like timing yourself for like a year or something like that to figure out how long it takes you to do things gives you a very good indication of how you should charge for things. Because you can always raise your hourly rate or your project rate. You know, you can do those things, but you got to know how long it takes to do shit.
But sometimes, honestly, sometimes that is opaque to the client, though,
Yeah.
because I know some agencies that there's just a blanket number for a branding package, like it's 25K, and the client doesn't really know how that's broken apart. But internally, that agency knows, okay, we're going to spend this much time on it. That
Hmm.
designer is going to work that much time. The project manager is going to work that much time, so they can assess whether or not that project was profitable.
Hmm.
But the client might not know how that's all getting chopped up.
Yeah. True. Um, Yeah, design says I'm not a fan of hourly base because some people will place more value on the time of the service more than the actual work. I got you. I do. I can see that too. Um, yeah, I have things to say, but I'm gonna hold off. I know one of the main reasons that we charge what we charge is because I'm not gonna say our work is getting tremendously better, but our service is.
What? Our work is getting so much better.
I'm just saying. I mean, it doesn't even matter. People think it. I mean, it to a certain level. It depends if your work is stellar. Like you're not going to get like prime jobs if your portfolio isn't hitting. But the most of it is who you know and how you service your clients, and if they're raving about you or talking about you.
Yeah, it's been word of mouth. I've been doing this for going on basically 30 years, essentially 30 years. I mean, frankly, even more than that, because I was freelancing in college.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I mean, so I've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I will say is, I would say 90% of the work I've gotten is word of mouth, has been referrals. I
Mm,
mean, I
well,
mean 90, like like a big chunk has
yeah.
been, oh, hey, I know this person, that kind of thing.
Yeah, referrals is like the blessing and the curse, though, in my opinion, too, because one, if you don't have a network, if you have not, as a young artist or a designer at all, built a network so that you can get referrals, that's harsh. Like that's the first thing you probably need to work on, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when, like when I was at the newspaper, like I was just memorizing. I had a list of names by the time I left of
mhm.
small businesses and people who I had dealt with. So, I had that sort of little base to start.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I also
that's key, is to keep track of everybody you meet.
yeah, I also worked for a black sign printing company, and so they didn't do graphic design like brochures and stationaries and stuff. So that was a way, working at a place like that was a way for me to get contacts because these people who were coming in for signs also needed design, and I wasn't impeding on or cutting into any profits, and it was okayed by my managers. So that was one of the ways that I learned how to build a clientele and a network. And the same thing happened when I worked at Prepress, because I've done that just to figure out what mistakes I was making because I was looking for a job and couldn't find one in an agency. So I was like, let me work a few hours at the pre-press, at the press place, and then just do my design work and build a business on the side.
Yeah, like the job I had before the newspaper, I was working for a printer and the sign shop all in the same thing, because it
Hmm.
was it was like agency adjacent.
Yeah, agency adjacent. That's perfect.
And you had this opportunity to work in the software, work in design, learn fonts, learn, get acclimated with that whole thing. So I had like basic skills on top of the theory that I'd learned in school,
Mhm.
and then I started dealing with people. So like, yeah, it was a process. It was like learn the theory, learn the real world practice, and then learn how to talk to people.
Yeah.
And that all took a while. You know, it
Yeah.
took, like you said, it took years.
Yep. 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 So, we were wondering, if we should do half hour. We're way past half hour. You know how we talk once we get started. Okay. So we were supposed to do this Thursday at 7 Central. AAGD, African American Graphic Designers, we have events every Thursday at 7. Um, and so we wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to get this podcast slash live in. So let's see. Now that I think about it, there's no space for somebody outside of our membership sites to check our event. Oh, Instagram. Check Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter for the event, and we'll eventually build a page where everybody can go to. All right. Well, before we go, let's see. Donate. Huh. Q&A. I don't. Why does it say donate? Is that even our? No, it's not
No, that's
ours.
been coming up the whole when we were testing it. It just keeps popping up.
Oh, look. Bing. Okay. So, if anybody has any questions y'all want to ask us, now is the time. Any question you got? Any question for the next 5 minutes? It could be personal. It could be in. No, I'm kidding. It can't be personal. Just about the design biz or the journey or the failures or pricing or building networks. We'll give you 5 minutes. Dave, what do you want to talk about in those 5 minutes? Did you see the blackening?
No, but I
Is you
loved
can
that marketing campaign.
you can rent it now.
I really, really got a kick out of that marketing campaign.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
You didn't have to. They didn't have to write anything. They just had infrared cameras in the theaters,
yeah.
and they allowed the actual. It was like a. It was so meta. It was like the stereotype being turned inside out by people who knew it so well,
Hmm.
but also still recognized the humor in the stereotype because it was all within the family. So it was like an all right thing to delve into. Yeah, that was. I need to see that.
Yep. 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 All right. Anything else we need to talk about? Game night. It's coming up this Thursday.
Game night logo Olympics. Can you design a logo
Logo
in
Olympics.
15 minutes? Like you get like 5 or 10 minutes to do a little bit of research, and then you start sketching, either sketching or doing something in Illustrator, whatever your software of choice. It could be drawing on an iPad, it could be drawing on a piece of
Yeah.
paper. As long as you can show us what it was or what it is in 15 minutes. And are we doing like memberships, or what are we doing for that?
Ooh,
Or
for the
points,
winners,
or points toward a membership? What are we doing for that?
I think we should do points toward a membership.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
ultimate goal there also, just to add on to it, the ultimate goal is to, because we're just picking random businesses to create a logo for.
On Catch a
What we're
Fire,
doing,
actually.
in our spare time is finding nonprofits and black-owned businesses that actually need a logo,
Yep.
and then it's almost like an all hands on deck kind of thing of let's everybody jump in and see if we can knock out a couple of logo ideas to then take to the nonprofit or the company and say, hey, here's your logo from Black designers. It's on the house.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, we got this RFP from a place in Chicago, and I sent them back. Being as to going back to being honest in the beginning, they sent it and it was like, we need what is it? Semi low pro bono. That's what they said. This job brand us for a low pro bono, and I was just like, oh yeah, one, we only have a couple of days. it's tomorrow that we have to answer this. And two, please tell us something that you're willing to trade or exchange other than nothing, right? And just see what they say. And some people are like, they'll never respond to you again and think you're an asshole. And some people are like, okay, that's true. I need to think about that, you know? Because so many people will throw in their proposals like, oh, we'll introduce you to a network of 200 people. And I'm like, unless you're giving me names, numbers, and know people exactly who need a design right now, and you're going to take me around and introduce me to them, or I'm going to have a time to like show all my work on a stage or a booth or something, I'm not even interested. Not even
Yeah.
interested. I'm not even interested for it for my people, but that's not fine. Okay, when is the Design Olympics? I'm gonna train up and sign up. Jordan's in for this Thursday Logo Olympics.
All right. We ain't messing around. You got 15 minutes.
Yep. Okay. Well, we're gonna keep y'all more. We're not gonna take up much more of your time. We will see you on the internet. I am Terrence Moline of AAGD, and
Oh, I thought
that
you
is
were
Dave McGlynn.
gonna.
Do it yourself.
See, just unnecessarily aggressive.
That's black folk for you. That's what.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. All right,
All
y'all.
right, man. See y'all later. Bye bye.
Have a good night.